War is raging, government is stealing our freedom, food processing plants are burning, and gun sales are through the roof. You're in the right place. This is The Prepared Mind.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Sunday Night Live. It's the Zoo on the Prepared Mind channel on, X, YouTube, thepreparedmind.club, subscribestar.com, Facebook. We are blanketing the social media atmosphere with everything we can to get the truth, the facts, patriotism to the very front. We've got a lot to talk about. I've had one hell of a weekend training, and my ass is kicked. Anyways, I couldn't not be here for tonight. So let's do it. Let's get into this. What do you want to talk about? Super chat donations up there, get you on the screen. It's your show, everybody. I've got stuff I want to talk about, but you guys, right? It's your show if you want to take command. And I think we're going to start tonight with Big Dan the Man, and he's got something to say. And it is Dan Ericson with a $10 super chat. And he says, the first drink on Sunday should be to honor the late, great Chesty Puller. And being a Marine, you should know who that man was. I do. There's a lot of Marines out there that have been awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, many of them after they were killed. But Chesty Puller is the single most decorated Marine in history. I'm going to give you the rundown. 5 Navy Crosses, 5. Distinguished Service Cross, Silver Star, Legion of Merit with V device. He's got 2 of them. Bronze Star Medal with V device. The Air Medal, he got 3 Air Medals and a Purple Heart. The man was a badass. And I guarantee Chesty Puller would stomp the ever-loving shit out of every one of these anti-American fucks. And I would be there to join him if I could. It's going to come down to it, folks, whether it's the Jihad Joes or the Antifas and BLMs or whether it's judges that kick off World War III against you and me. Here's the Chesty Puller, the United States Marine Corps, our nation founded in 1776. That's right, Amy Comey Barrett. The Declaration of Independence is organic law. Down the hatch, salut, and semper fi. Well, that hit the spot. That hit the spot. Thank you, Big Dan. Wow, that's a way to kick off the show. If you would, be sure and hit the thumbs up, the heart button, the repost, the share button. Get people. Share the internet address up there at the top, the URL, and we'll get into this. We got a lot to discuss. And so next, thank you, Big Dan. Next is a $50 super chat donation from Darcy T. And she says, here's my question for tonight's Zoo. So we've all been hearing about Pam Bondi's anti-Christian task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias in the federal government. It sounds good on the surface, but I just don't trust these people. Is it me, or do you feel that she is just throwing the Christian community a bone? Meanwhile, she continues to do the square root of 0, which is 0. I'm skeptical of the whole thing. I think it was a red herring. I think it's bullshit. Right? They promise to do lots of things. And this is the problem with breaking a promise when you're in a position of authority. Pam Bondi has utterly failed to live up to her word. She has failed to live up to the standard of law and order, truth and justice. She has absolutely failed to hold criminals liable. She has let pedophiles, murderers go. Meanwhile, that's right, Oh, yeah. We have Jeffrey Epstein victims are scared to death because, well, Virginia Goffer died. They call it suicide, even though just days before she said, I'm not committing suicide. My doctor and my therapist know I'm not suicidal. But they ruled her death a suicide. Wow. That is exactly what we've got wrong in this country. Exactly what we have wrong is Pam Bondi is not doing her job and people are victimized. The other, and folks, there are lots of them out there, the other Epstein victims who are also molested, raped, sodomized, tortured, and of course the nameless rabble who were killed and who knows what was done with them. They're out there, the living ones, and they're scared to death that they're going to be Arkansided. So yeah, I think that this is just throwing a bone to the Christian community. Anti-Christian task force to eradicate anti-Christian bias in the federal government. Has she looked around? What's she going to do? It's a task force. What are they going to do? Send nasty letters to assholes in Congress? These pro-Islam and pro-Israel and pro-Iran, all these people that they seem to put every other country ahead of America, right? And then blame Christians and attack us, for being Christian, for being white, for being moral, right? I don't buy it. I think it's bullshit. The only way to prove us wrong, hey, find someone in the government who has used their authority unlawfully to harm someone based on their religious perspective as Christians. Make those arrests, and I'll be convinced you're serious, Pam. Otherwise, go take a flying fuck at a rolling donut, because I don't trust her one iota. Got to prove me wrong. I don't mind being wrong, folks. Prove me wrong. Let's see. Any high-level arrests? No. We've got 2 low-life judges, little itty-bitty scumbag judges who are aiding and abetting, harboring, and giving refuge to illegals, gang members, MS-13 gang members. Are you telling me there's only 2 crooked judges out there? Oh, I've got something for you. I got something for you. I do. I have got something for you with respect to this. Wrong one. We have, judicial coup d'etat. This judicial insurrection is real. It's absolutely real, folks. Wake up to the reality and be ready to get the opportunity to arrest these traitors. If we get it, if you and I, if we find out the government's not going to do their fucking job and it gets so bad, we can handle it. Get this, right? Another Milwaukee County judge has joined the judicial insurrection and says there are now new courthouse policies. Right? New courthouse policies in response to the radical judge vowing to shield illegals from ICE agents. Folks, all of these Democrat judges, have you taken a look at them? They look like they stepped out of a fucking freak parade. Stupid clothes and even dumber thought processes. We're in big trouble with these judges. Literally, big trouble with these judges. At some point, they're going to have to be addressed. These fucking judges, I tell you. Now, sophistry. Sophistry is taking a word and changing the meaning of it to fit your political agenda. Kind of like the Second Amendment that Democrats like to say, a well-regulated militia. Well, that means that we, the government, get to regulate the people. That's not what it means at all. Well-regulated means well-practiced, well-trained on a regular basis, regulated. So the Democrat Wisconsin state legislator is saying that the judge who was arrested for obstructing immigrations and custom enforcement was obstructing fascism, literally obstructing fascism. So they think they're obstructing fascism. So they're saying the government is fascist and they're fighting it. Do they have an obligation to fight fascism? Well, no, they don't. They have an obligation to follow the letter of the law and obey the Constitution and live up to their oaths. Whether or not they call it fascism or communism or democracy doesn't matter. That's just a label. But they're using fascism as a label for one specific purpose. And that's to tie our law, the law on illegal alien invasion, tying it to Hitler and the Nazis. Right now, this state legislator says, we're doing what all of us will be called to do in the days and weeks and months to come. Folks, the Democrats are redefining what is law and what is criminal based on their desired political outcome. We are in the middle of a judicial coup d'etat, a judicial insurrection, and a judicial civil war within the government. What do you think of that shit? Are you prepared for what is coming next? Now, let us move on if we shall. Where are we going? Okay, let me get Uman up here on the board. We got Chin Music. Chin Music did a $55.56 super chat donation. And any super chat, that button right up here, or down below, we got Venmo, CashApp, PayPal. Chin uses Venmo, and Darcy T uses PayPal. And many of you use the super chat button up here. But anything over $50 or $49.99 in some cases, I get to drink a single malt scotch. And after the extensive training I did this weekend, I need a lot of painkiller. Let's see. Yeah, I paddled a few miles on a paddleboard, dodged alligators, aggressive water moccasins, got hit in the head by a fucking boat, almost got chopped to finress meat by a propeller, went diving through caves without scuba tanks, hit my head on the ceiling twice, almost got stuck. It was one hell of a weekend, Chin. Single malt scotch. Wow. So Chin says, now that the cheese curd lady, this is the fat ass Wisconsin judge, has been arrested, maybe, just maybe, we are turning the corner on taking back the Constitution. And now Jamie Shitskin, that's Raskin Shitskin, is at it. Again, with the threats and inflammatory comments, if God granted me immunity for one big sin, I would ask him to lock me in an elevator for 2 minutes with that bad hair, tiny-shouldered, low beta male. Loudmouth. Democrat men, folks, according to Chin Music, are almost as bad as the women. Almost. I'm still going to give Bongino and Patel a little leash after something I heard from a judge at my work the other day. But I have zero faith in Scam Blondie. I don't know what's worse. Her ignoring us, ignoring the cries and pleas and prayers of everyone in America who wants these children protected. They want justice for the victims of all of Epstein's clients. And this is how callous and filthy I think these people are, because they haven't arrested one. Now, if they just went out and arrested one, I don't know, pick one. Pick one. Who do we want to pick on? Let's pick on Chuck Schumer. Or let's pick on Barack Obama. Or, hey, even Bill Clinton. Apparently it's okay to arrest former presidents, right? No, you can't arrest judges. No, the Democrats say. But you can arrest former presidents. All they would have to do is say, we arrested Bill Clinton. He's being charged in association with illegal activities on Epstein's Island. We could all breathe a sigh of relief that justice is underway. She told us we'd have the lists, all of them, day one. And then at the end of a week. And then once she redacted names for national security purpose, and then redacted names of those who are innocent to protect their identities. Then she didn't have anything. She gave a bunch of social media sellouts, suck-ups, fucking stupid folders with the same shit we've had for years. And they did a little happy Hanukkah dance in front of the White House like a bunch of fucking idiots. I'm not happy with these people, folks, because justice is so easy. You know it. I know Chin knows it. I know you all know it. If you had the authority and you knew who the bad guy was, you could go arrest him. It's so simple. You turn around, put your hands behind your back. You are under arrest for crimes against humanity, for crimes against children, for pedophilia, racketeering. Name it, right? Name it. Sex trafficking, just everything. She wouldn't have to give us all the names. She could just make a big arrest and go, oh, there's more coming. And I would be, okay, Pam, I heard you. I see you're one arrest. That's great. You finally fucking did something. Congratulations. Golf clap, right? Good job. Now go get some more. But right now, I have zero, like you, Chin, zero faith in her. I have zero faith in Kash Patel, who was supposed to turn the FBI building into a fucking museum. It was supposed to clear out all the scum and rebuild it. Instead, they promote assholes who attack January 6th protesters, went to all ends of the earth to arrest people and throw them in a gulag fucking prison, deny them their rights, and they fucking promoted this guy? This is why I have zero faith in them, because they have not done what they said they were going to do. They talked a big game. They got authority. They're doing jack shit. Give me a chance. Give you a chance. I would spend my money. I would call my mom, my sister, my brother, and say, I need a couple $100. I need some gas money. I'm going to drive all the way up to Martha's Vineyard. I'm going to drive all the way to Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm going to go find me an asshole and arrest him. That would be fun. Can you imagine that showdown? Woo! Anyways, good scotch there, Chin Music. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. And we have, folks, a lot of news going on. Internationally, Trump went over for the Pope's funeral. I think it was probably a magnanimous thing to do. And the Democrats are attacking him for wearing a blue suit, saying everyone else wore black. When in reality, they took a wider shot of the picture, and there's lots of blue suits. It's just stupid. They've got to criticize everything about Trump. But still, right, while Trump was there, guess what he did? He wanted to meet with little Voldemort Zelensky, the little butt pirate himself. And they set up in this beautiful room, in the Vatican, I suppose, where they could have a meeting. Trump, Zelensky, Macron. There were 3 chairs. And Trump summarily dismissed Macron. Emmanuel Macron. He said, you shouldn't be here. And President Trump sent France's warmongering fruitcake of a president out of this little, let's call it a baby summit, right? Very, very, very interesting things going on. Zelensky, in my opinion, is getting what? He is not going to give up. He is not going to quit. His masters want war with Russia. And I think if he fails his masters, they will kill him. So he is not going to sign a peace treaty. He's not going to sign a minerals deal. He's not going to pay back America for all of our assistance and help. He is an ungrateful little buttfucker. That's exactly what he is. He is a Peter puffing fruitcake, and he will screw anyone over. If nothing else, the world should learn, you can't trust one of these fucking freaks in positions of power. They're all a bunch of freaks, and they'll lie right to your face. But I thought it was great that Trump said, you shouldn't be here. All of a sudden, 2 chairs. in this grand, opulent, marble-clad room in the Vatican. And Trump sat down with that little freak of a man, Zelensky. I don't have a whole lot of faith in Zelensky having 2 brain cells and figuring out the game is over, because Europe does not have the money. France doesn't. England doesn't. They will get smoked by the Russians if they want to play that game. And Russia can hurt Europe, folks. They own Europe with the energy market. It's quite a shit show, if you ask me. In any event, folks, it is SHTF, and it's been that way since March of 2020. Yes, indeed. Back in September of 2019, we had a bank failure like you can't believe, but they were able to stuff so much paper up every bank's ass that they looked solvent. But I've had a couple of different economists agree with us that, yeah, it was September of 2019 that we had a banking collapse that no one really talks about because it was papered over instantly. We've got big trouble, folks. Europe is broke. Hell, China's broke. America's broke. We're all broke. And it looks like we're going into a new, if you will, we're going into a new monetary order. Okay, Mr. Uman, what do we want to do next? Who's up on the Prepared Mind channel? Someone from the audience has something, and it's Carport Carl with a 762, a very fine caliber super chat donation. And he says, John, do these leftist commies realize that if they push things to a Civil War II, that all of our allies and some, or all of our enemies and some allies would attack? No, they don't know anything. They don't realize anything, Carl. They do not. I mean, literally, they believe men can have babies. The leftists literally believe that when they claim to be a gender that they're not, that they can no longer get pregnant or they can no longer impregnate somebody. They believe that because in their mind, they transform the world as if they're writing code and making rules for biology and nature and physics, etc., etc. These leftist commie fools don't realize anything. Now, with respect to what you're talking about, if they push things to a Civil War II, if the judges try some stuff, if they attack Trump, try arresting Trump, and Trump pulled a fucking rope-a-dope on him big time. Folks, Trump did it, right? They said, you got to bring back all these gangs that went sent down to CCOT and El Salvador, the prison. You got to bring them back. And Trump said, nope. The Department of Homeland Security sent them to Guantanamo Bay, and they became the wards, if you will, of the Department of Defense. And the judges have zero jurisdiction over the military. And that's the thing, isn't it? They're playing fucking games. So Trump played right back. The the Illegal Enemy Invasion Act, whatever. I can't remember what it's fucking called now. Right? The Democrats are like, no, the president can't enforce a law that's on the books and was legally ratified. But he gave the DOD their bodies, and it's like, nope, fuck you. Leftist commies don't realize anything. They have nothing to do up here with reality. It's all make-believe and hyperbole in their heads. They literally believe that you're a racist, whether you're white or Native American or black or Asian or Hispanic. You're a fucking racist if you don't agree with them. I mean, talk about demagoguery. But if they were to push things to a civil war, yes, our enemies could attack us. Now, let me say that again. Could, right? You use the word would, Carport Carl, which is fine. I would say could, because the Chinese have already said, why should we attack America? All we need to do is stand back and let them fuck themselves up. We'll do the work for them, and they don't have to be the bad guys. We don't have to be the bad guys. Now, that's China. And the Chinese are intelligent and they've got their own philosophies. So, yeah, they've got a different program running. Now, enemies that would attack us: the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, Iranians, all the Muslim Pakistanis, you bet, all the Muslims from North Africa, all those countries there, from Egypt over to Morocco and Tunisia, Tripoli, right? Everywhere. All these scumbags are here in this country. And they would attack. Because what better time to attack than when the enemy, and they consider us their enemy, when we're disoriented. Let me understand this again. They're telling the world right now in Europe, they're telling the world, we come in, we're going to out-reproduce you, we're going to become the majority, and then we're going to make this country, so he's talking about England or Scotland or Ireland. They're also talking about America as well. But all the European nations are saying, we're going to bring in Sharia law. It's going to become a Muslim caliphate, and we will own you. We'll take your women. We'll take your property. We'll do whatever the fuck we want. Now, over in Ireland, they had the biggest protest rally, pro-Ireland march. And Conor McGregor, a most unlikely hero for Ireland, has stepped up to a leadership role. Conor McGregor of mixed martial arts fame, super champion. But he is wanting Ireland. He says, I'm going to kick out, deport all non-Irish. I can't say that I can respect the guy enough if he does it, if he gets elected, if he does it. And once again, you declare a national emergency. You go to, shall we say, extra constitutional law and order measures, and you eliminate the enemy. Eliminate the enemy. These Muslims are going nuts. But in America, we have one thing, Carl, and to all of you as well. We have a Second Amendment. We have rifles, shotguns, handguns, crossbows, sharp sticks. We have lots of ammunition. And many, many, many of us are sportsmen, experienced shooters, military veterans. And once again, on my travels and escapades, I ran into lots of jarheads doing similar things that I was in the jungles of Florida, continuing to train, continuing to be Marines. You just walk by, Marine Corps license plate, Marine Corps sticker, Marine Corps license plate frame, Marine Corps hats, out doing that. That's exactly what apparently we do. Getting ready, because the moment these sons of bitches attack, whether it's Antifa or BLM, whether it's the LGB fruitcakes who have armed themselves to stop the genocide of the fruitcake trannies, the genocide that they're committing on themselves, by the way. They're the only ones killing them. They kill each other, other trannies, and they kill themselves through suicide. And then they mass murder innocent people. Yeah, I'm waiting on Pam Bondi to start dealing with these people. Anyways, yeah, if they were to attack, and they could, right? I know that China won't. I doubt China would attack us on the mainland. They may go after Taiwan if we're busy screwing around and fucking around here in this country. But if Jihad Joe and all these other anti-American, anti-freedom, anti-republic of the U.S. Constitution, if they try their shit, it is going to be open season. Open season. And what I'm trying to put together in my area is a way to identify the good. You know, how, if someone gets the drop on me, am I going to tell them I'm a good guy? But what if someone who gets the drop on me is Antifa or BLM or one of these fruitcakes? Well, then I have no choice but to charge into a fucking ambush and take them as best I can before I get eradicated. But I don't plan on someone getting the drop on me. I plan on getting the drop on them. And I'll find out who they are. It's going to be a fucking mess if this happens. If they go to a civil war or a partisan conflict scenario with these Democrats in Washington, in Congress, the Senate and the House, or the judiciary, or at the state houses. Now in Texas, they've been giving all kinds of special benefits and privileges to the Islamic State that is developing there. I believe Governor Greg Abbott has got his hand firmly out and being greased by CAIR, which is a Muslim Brotherhood group. It is a pro-Islam, anti-American group trying to establish itself, and they want to set up a religious government, a theocracy, a caliphate, and start going into people's homes, whether you like it or not. This is what they literally say. When we run things, we're going to come in your home and we're going to do what we want. We're going to take what we want, and you don't have any choice. What a crazy, crazy mental system they have. Well, let's do this. Let us continue, if we shall. Mr. Uman, I think we got another comment out there, and it's Dan the man. And he says, hey, I bought 100 shares of Tesla stock last Monday and made bank, paid $224 per share, and it closed Friday at almost $285. We will see. Go Elon, and thanks, libtards. We're seeing some very interesting stuff in the stock market. It is. Some people are saying this is a dead cat bounce. Maybe you should put in some stop loss orders on that, Dan. But still, the Elon Musk and Tesla. I don't think the Democrats understand that by attacking Teslas, keying them, attacking them, firebombing them, attacking Tesla dealerships, Tesla offices, that they're driving their own constituents, Democrat constituents, away. As stupid as Democrats are, as filthy as Democrats are, as mentally deranged as they are, many of them are not violent. Even though, and I want to remind everyone, that half of Democrats out there think it's justifiable to use force against Republicans, deadly force if they need. So that kind of sets us up. The Democrats have an approval rating of about 21%. 21%! Well, 21 times 2 is 42. And that's about half of the country that are Democrats, and only half of them agree with what's going on. The other half, bunch of idiots. But they're just going to sit back, just like the Tories of the Revolutionary War sat back and let people, get murdered, robbed by the English. Elon Musk, though, is very popular. He has found an incredible amount of fraud, waste, corruption, money laundering. Oh, and zero arrests of bureaucrats, government employees, distributors, receivers of this money. That was interesting. Thanks, you man. That was Cottage Farms out there causing some trouble, I think. Anyways, yeah, they're Elon Musk has done a fantastic job. People love what he's done. And on X, Twitter, there is a lot more free speech than there used to be. Even though it does have computer algorithms and things that choke down people's content. And you're not allowed to say anything against, the princesses of the world, right? You can't say anything about Israel. Can't say anything about the royal family. You can't say this, can't say that. But still, essentially, Elon Musk has saved free speech. Essentially. Whew. I tell you. Still, I think I'm running a fever from all the stuff I did this weekend. Part of the training was to bring down the core temperature, hypothermia, and see how I could function in a hypothermic state of mind, frame of mind, physically. That'll fuck you up. It's hard to do, but it's training. In any event, let us continue if we shall. Okay, here we go. Cottage Farm says, Dan, as in Dan the man, Elon and our favorite President Trump is bringing in the digital dystopia. I get the money-making aspect, but dang, let's not cheer our demise of real liberty. And, well, can any of you that have children really be excited about the prison our kids face in the future digital nightmare? This is a very interesting perspective to take, Cottage Farm. Thank you for sharing it. The digital prison that's coming. The state of Florida has said there'll be no central bank digital currency, no CBDCs. Several states are saying no CBDCs. The Bank of International Settlements is saying we want every country to have CBDCs, central bank digital currency, which is a way for the centralized banking system to keep track of what everybody has, and they can throttle us, choke us, take from us, and say, well, central bank digital currency, it's not yours. You're borrowing our currency. And if we don't like how you behave, we could tell you, no, you're frozen. You're suspended. You can only spend this much, even though you own this much. And that is the potential future digital nightmare we're all facing. Will they turn it into this 1984 Orwellian dystopia? Or will it be more like the Aldous Huxley's Brave New World dystopia? One that's got a little more niceness. Or will it be a fucking boot on our faces? Or will you and I, all of us, have the moxie and the balls to stand up and tell our state governments, no, we need money, real money, not central bank digital currency, not bullshit Federal Reserve notes that can be, how do we say this, printed ad infinitum, right? Meaning they can hyperinflate our currency. Oh, by the way, it's looking like we're going to get that if we're not too careful. The way things are going. Folks, we have big trouble in our near futures with the stock market, with banking, with raw materials, mining, processing, fabrication, distribution of finished goods. The world's going to change. Now, I'm 55. And the last time our country saw huge changes like this, I was just a toddler. 1971, we came off the gold standard. 1974, we came up with the, I think by 74, they had it pretty solid. The petrodollar had huge inflation. Gold went from $35 an ounce to $42 an ounce on the books with the government. But in the paper market, gold shot up through the 70s to over $800, from 35 an ounce to over 800. Huge increase, about 25 times. That was an eye-opener. The country went through a huge change, right? We had President Carter attacking us and saying that we're suffering from a malaise, that, the American worker was no good. It was like, hey, you guys fucked the system up. What we're trying to do is work and get a paycheck. Well, we got something a little different here, Cottage Farm, right? So that system, the petrodollar system, has failed. Absolutely failed. We need a monetary reset. We need a debt reset. How do you do that? How do you go about doing that? It has to work for the government. It has to work for the people. I have a funny feeling, though, us, the people, we're going to get fucked. I have the feeling about that. But don't underestimate our enemies and their desire to use what is happening as an excuse to commit horrendous acts against us. It is going to get nasty, in my opinion. And so I'm not excited about the prison our children face and our grandchildren. No. A digital nightmare, it needs to end. This digitization of the world is bullshit. We don't fucking need a digital world. What I need to do is go to work for 8 hours, get paid in something real, something I put my hands on and hold, at least, that holds its value for at least a day. Right? But I don't need to be digitized and put on a blockchain This blockchain shit, to me, it's plastic banana good time rock and roll crap. Who gives a fuck? Remember this, folks, always. Possession is 9/10 of the law. My mom used to say that when I was a kid. What does that mean? Well, a state, a local, the federal government, even an international body can say, we own you. You guys have to do what we say, blah, 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 right? I don't have to do what they say. I possess me. I own me, right? Possession is 9/10 of the law. In other words, you can't tell me what to fucking do unless you want to go to war. Do you think they want to go to war with us? I know some of these organizations do, right? We've named them. Antifa, BLM, CARE. We have organizations that are anti-American that are controlling the government. Nations like the United Kingdom, Israel, France, and Spain, and the European continent, they're trying to own us as well. They try it. We're going to find out, folks. We just have to play the game. We just have to play the game with them and find out. Uman says, silver and gold markets opened up flat for silver, up 1% for gold. Well, how about that? Good deal. Yeah, it's going to get interesting as the dollar becomes more questionable. Right, as the economy slows down, gold and silver are going to do their thing. Gold always leads, and it has. Folks, in the last year, you can go back to the beginning of 2024. So a year and 4 months. Yeah, year and 4 months. Gold has gone from 1,800 to 3,500 at its top. It's back down now to 3,350. It'll head back up. It is going to be fascinating to watch what they try and do to fix this problem. Best you and I can do, hey, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense in your plan. All right, let's continue. Mr. Uman, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? And it's Chin Music with a $4.99 super chat. And he says, Chinese kids aren't taught by a rainbow flag waving teachers union. No, the Chinese are laughing their asses off, though, folks. Because China, the people of China, know that women are women and men are men, and men have penises and girls have vaginas. They understand you have to live and function in reality. Right? And if you don't, there is a price to pay. So the Chinese students or Chinese children are taught by teachers who are interested in doing a probably a good job. Right? They don't have a homosexual agenda. They don't have an anti-Chinese agenda in Chinese schools. Isn't that incredible how in America, our teachers hate this fucking country, but they're willing to get a paycheck from your tax money, but they hate you for it. And they wear their green and their purple and their fucking yellow and their red hair, all dyed. And they love to come into a class and talk about their sexuality with students. They're trying to force primary school students to read about homosexual sex, pornography. And parents are like, you can't force our kids to read that shit. And the school's like, you watch, we will. Well, they lost so far. But this country is going fucking nuts. All China has to do is sit back and watch America destroy itself or watch America clean up its fucking act. Mikey G says Chinese kids are taught weapons, disassembly, and assembly. In America, children used to have, as part of their education, how to use rifles. They had rifle teams, marksmanship in high school. Bow and arrow, archery. When I was in 6th grade, we did, I don't want to use the word show and tell, but that's probably the fastest way to describe it. It was a type of demonstration. You had to talk about something that you liked, understood, and so a friend Mitch and I brought our bows to school with our arrows. And we put on an archery clinic for the class. That was fun. Weapons, nobody was scared. And in high school, we had guns in our back window, or our pickup trucks, right? Our Jeeps. But yeah, Chinese, they're still doing that. Wouldn't surprise me a bit. Okay, let's have some more fun, shall we? Ooman, who is up next on the Prepared Mind channel? And it's Boomer21 with a $20 super chat donation. And he says, hey, John, once Islam becomes about 10% of the population, that's when they take over. In England, almost every mayor is Muslim. They're almost there. Yes. They start by claiming that they're a minority and they just want to live in peace. And then they start asking for special favors. They buy politicians. They start running for office. And like a good Democrat, they go, oh, you won't vote for me? What are you, a racist? Well, yeah, the mayor of London is named Khan, Khan. He's like, well, living in a big city, you have to deal with terrorism. And other nations are like, actually, no, you don't. Terrorism is not part of living in a big city. Terrorism is a part of Islam. Anyways, yeah, almost every major city has a Muslim mayor. In England, they're fighting that. There's a rather tough-looking British commando type guy who's going to be running for mayor against the sleazebag Khan. The people of Dover, England, are screaming and yelling and protesting. They don't want to allow these people onto their shores. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. At some point, let's just say in Florida, if these people started getting out of hand, I don't see any way, knowing what they're going to do, because we'll be able to look right across over at England and France and Ireland and Scotland and see what they're doing and go, they're doing it right here. Why would we wait? Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to take violent acts or do anything illegal. But in India, let me tell you what they're doing. They are taking tractors and demolishing mosques. Absolutely demolishing mosques. And getting rid of them. Same with China. Because they know that Islam is not a religion. It's a death cult. And for all the fucking liberal women out there, I love seeing these signs they hold up saying, you know, we need to get rid of all white men. White men are evil. It's like, have you seen what Muslim men do to women in their culture? They beat the fuck out of them with whips. You know, you don't get to wear what you want. You wear a fucking dirty old bed sheet or a bedspread over your head with a couple of slits cut so you can see out. That's it. It's like it's almost like they're accepting this notion of being slaves to these fucking backwards ass barbarians. I'd rather go out in a blaze of glory than live under one of these fucking people anywhere near me. Anywhere. And in fact, well, we're going to find out, aren't we, Boomer? Canada is in big fucking trouble with these fruitcakes. And in fact, now the Sikh are getting out of fucking hand. A group of people that I once thought were pretty decent. But after looking at that cocksucker up in Canada, he's got his turban wrapped a little too fucking tightly. You know, I don't trust them either. It seems like anything that is not Anglo common law, these other groups just want to destroy it. Unfucking believable. Thank you, Boomer, for the great super chat donation. And we have lots to talk about, folks. Lots. Where do we go with this? The Democrats, folks. Oh, shoot, we got Nancy Keg. Let's just do Nancy Keg real quick. She says, your choice tonight, John. Thanks for sharing everything you do. You're welcome, Nancy, very much. I want everyone to be prepared. That's to me, this, you know, you've got to see what's coming out here. And we have a clear path of what's happening. A clear path. We're seeing our government trying to destroy and ignore law and order. I see our government bringing in the most unwholesome, evil fucking people from Central and South America and Mexico, as well as Northern Africa and the Far East. And they're all fucking scumbags. Replacement theory replacement theory is not a theory anymore, folks. Did you know that? Remember when they said that's a conspiracy theory? Remember that? Cracked me up. That's a conspiracy theory. Actually, it's not. Remember Joy Reid, that bald-headed bitch who lost her job on MSNBC? Well, she is now given a full admission of replacement theory. This piece of shit racist, Joy Reid, has attacked white folks in a diversity, equity, and inclusion rant. Remember before we had diversity, equity, and inclusion? Little towns that were just, well, Southerners or country folk. Right? Before all the diversity, you knew who you could trust. You could leave keys in the car, houses unlocked. Yeah, now we get this crap. Anyways, by the way, black folks, someone like Joy Reid considers you a racist if you don't agree with her. So there is no, well, I'm black and I'm going to get away with it, or I'm Hispanic and I'm going to get away with it. No. Everyone is a racist to them. So, yeah, Joy Reid attacks white folks and says whites made Europe, quote, an aging, slowly dying former empire. That's interesting, huh? The only thing that is aging and slowing and killing the European experience, the European civilization, is all of these fucking invaders from other countries. These fucking rabulous, inbred, and they're inbred, violent, ignorant as fuck. All these jihad Joes. They ruin stores, they ruin the streets, they ruin beaches, they ruin the cities. They don't even look like European cities anymore. So to say that whites made Europe this dying former empire, no, it's the scumbag third world trash that's been brought in by these sellouts that want replacement theory. Right? They do. You know, this Joy Reid, such a stupid bitch. She says the Roman Empire collapsed because of a lack of diversity. And she says the great replacement theory, right, is good. It's amazing to me. These people are now, everything that was a conspiracy theory is a conspiracy fact. Chemtrails, fact. mRNA, Jim Jones juice, deadly, fact. Did you know that children under 5 are now coming down with colon cancer? In big, big numbers, colon cancer. Why would a child get colon cancer? Right? It's coming, folks. So anyways, this they like this great replacement theory. This population replacement. So these evil Africans, Arabs, Muslims, communists, they want white people and white culture replaced in typical commie fashion. I think Chesty Puller would have a fucking field day, right? These people, though, this is what Joy Reid and people like her want. They want the wealth that all of us have. They want it. They want the wealth, the houses, fancy cars, right? And this is exactly what the Russian Bolshevik commies did in the 1910s, 1910 onwards. China did it in the 1950s. And now in South Africa, folks, they're doing it to white farmers. Now, in the cities, they already stole 51% of every business in South Africa. Every business in South Africa has to be owned by a black person, 51%. But they still want the white people there to manage the businesses and make them profitable. This is some incredible, stupid shit going on. The most violent and ignorant in the world are running roughshod over everyone. It is going to get fucking messy. It just is. There's nothing we can do, folks. Nothing we can do but watch. Hide and watch. Nancy, thank you so much for the great support. You're always there every week, week in and week out. Thank you so much. The Democrats are failing, folks. I want you to know that you are waking up these fucking people in government are waking up and they're seeing that we are not putting up with their shit. It's all going to come to a screeching halt. Something is going to have to give. Something is going to have to give. If government, these Democrats, just come out and just violate the law, start arresting people, just being stupid, it could get ugly quick. In any event, let's do this. Let's do some more super chats with you guys. It's your show. It's Sunday Night Live. We have Redneck Roughneck. And he says, hey, over 100 illegal alien gang members were busted in an underground nightclub next to Fort Carson, Colorado. Now, this was interesting. Active duty military were armed security for this underground nightclub that had a bunch of illegals there. And so they just busted them. It was fucking great. Some funny shit. I love seeing that they did that. It really does make me happy to see these dumb fucks. All right. We've got a lot of things to talk about, folks. Now, the Democrats are failing. Right? Like we all know. We all know. Where am I at here? There we go. We all know that only 21% of Americans support and like what the Democrats are doing. They're failing. And they're not quitting. They're not giving up. Even Adam Schiff whined and sniveled and complained that he was in San Francisco. He is now a California senator. And he was told by just a clerk, a store worker, a business worker, regular person, that, the Democrats are fucking stupid. Just put him in his funny shit. But get this, folks, Democrat, Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries, they're both basically discount Obamas. They staged a, quote, sit-in on the Capitol steps to protest Trump. And guess what? Nobody showed up. Literally nobody showed up. It was a total abject failure. When they don't pay protesters, nobody gives a shit. Democrats really have zero approval. Zero approval. Even from Marxist commies like Antifa and BLM. I don't think Antifa and BLM trust the Democrats. I think they know they're being used by them. Just like I don't the radical Muslim communities that they're trying to create in this country, they don't trust the Democrats. Hell, they're buying off Republicans in Texas. They own the fucking state house. It's disgusting. Anyone who's in Texas now, you guys need to fucking start impeaching some people and throwing them the fuck out. You need to have some serious fucking loud protests and I'm not going to tell anyone to be violent, but I'm sure that would have a very positive effect on the attitude, knowing that these fucking people have been exposed, including Governor Abbott. What a sack of shit, taking over $1 million from CARE, which is the Muslim Brotherhood, anti-American, anti-Christian, anti-white, anti-America. It's taking money from him. Why the fuck would he do that? It's literally, why would you invite the death of, your state, the people in your state, your own family? What do they think? Where do they think they're going? Anyways, Cory Booker and his dipshit cohort, Hakeem Jeffries, double discount Obama, had a sit-in and nobody showed. Funny shit, because they're losers. All right, Mr. Uman, let's have some fun. It's the 1 hour mark on the Prepared Mind channel, Sunday Night Live. And Cottage Farm says $50 super chat. Let's have some fun. Well, the $50 super chat does just that. Glenn Levitt, 15-year single malt Scotch whiskey coming my way. Thank you, Cottage Farm, for this. I could use it. Getting a little parched. Feeling a little dry. Anyways, Cottage Farm, you've been a great supporter of the channel. Thank you so much. Down the hatch, Semper Fi. There it is. Woo! Having some fun now. She said, we need lists of the pilots spraying our skies. Okay. How do we go about doing this? If you were to go on the internet and type in chemtrail companies, they will tell you, it will come up now, who the companies are, who the CEO is, what their political connections are in government. You'll find the companies. And then you'll find the airports out of which they operate. Now, here's the deal. There's an entire infrastructure for chemtrails. Entire infrastructure. See, it's not just the pilots flying the airplane. Woo-hoo. Hit the button, start spraying fucking everyone, right? There's pilots. There's mechanics for these planes. There are people that repair the equipment. People that repair the equipment on these planes, right? There's companies that produce these chemicals for this purpose. What a bunch of sick fucking bastards. Maybe they believe they're helping the world. I happen to think they're just for fucking sale. There's no room in my heart or my head for people who are willingly spraying shit in the sky that they don't know what the fuck it does to people's health, to livestock, to animals, to people, to crops, to sea life. They don't give a fuck. So yeah, getting a list of the pilots spraying our skies, I really think that people should find out these companies, where they operate out of, and go there and start protesting them and find out, oh, you work for that company. They even have little insignias like military insignia. They're sprayers. They think it's fucking cute. They're part of a little club and they think they're on the winning side. They're fucking themselves and their own families up. They're fucking with our climate. They're fucking with our health. We need the list of the pilots, the ground crew, the mechanics, the suppliers, the truck drivers that bring that shit there. Like you said, there's an entire line of infrastructure. It all needs to be exposed. And it wouldn't make me sad if someone were to start sabotaging their operations. I would not be sad about that at all. I'm not encouraging violence or unlawful or illegal behavior, no. But if their planes didn't take off, that'd be fucking great. If the pilots decided it's time to resign because they're feeling threatened, people are following them to their houses, right? They spray this shit over our houses. Why can't we go to their houses and make them uncomfortable? Because every time I have looked up and I see that shit, it makes me uncomfortable as fuck. It makes me very uncomfortable. Because that fog that was in Florida months and months ago made everyone I know sick. It was a bio-fucking fog, which is why I've been doing a detox with a horse paste detox regimen to clean my shit up, to get over and through this stuff. Right? We need a list of the pilots, the ground crew, the companies, the CEOs, where their businesses are, who makes their product, who transports it, and make their lives a living fucking hell. I think that's fair because they're poisoning us, Cottage Farm. That fog that was in Florida, and Florida doesn't have fog. It's not fucking Sacramento or San Francisco. It's not Portland, fucking Oregon. It's Florida. And so I think they're poisoning us. And yeah, they should pay a price. All right, let us continue if we can. Thank you, Cottage Farm, for that great super chat donation. Feeling that scotch. All right, man. What do we got? Mr. Ooh, man. Brad Jones with a $2 POW super sticker. Thank you, Mr. Brad. He checks in from time to time. Always appreciate reading that name. Brad Jones. Thank you, sir. Okay, Mr. Ooh, man. Where are we rolling? We've got, you can avoid, this is F Home to C. You can avoid reality, but you cannot avoid the consequences of avoiding reality. I will do two things today that others won't, so tomorrow I can do things others can't. That's rather deep and philosophical. I just got hit by another scotch between the ears. So, anyways, yeah, a little philosophy here. You can avoid reality, right? All of this, well, let's just use the spraying, for example. They're spraying, we're spraying. We can avoid having to deal with it, but the consequences of what they're doing, we can't avoid the consequences. All of these crazy, wacko jihad Joes getting flown into our country. And folks, it's incredible. They are so fucking inbred that they have as many kids as they can, and they're all fucked up. And guess what? They want our country or England or France to pay to take care of their fucked up children that are inbred so bad that they're beyond retarded. Right? We can kind of avoid them and not think about them, but we will not be able to avoid the consequences of what they are doing and what the radical jihadis, what they're doing and planning. Right? There'll be a moderate Muslim standing over somebody going, I'm really sorry about this radical Muslim guy, but he's just going to have to kill you and there's nothing I can do about it. But I'm moderate, and most of us are. But it's not looking that way, is it? It's not looking that way. Have you seen the videos of girls being beaten? Girls beaten and attacked. Young men being beaten and attacked in Ireland, in England, in France. It's starting to happen in Canada and America as well. New York City, places like New York City, large metropolises, where these people, no one's enforcing the law, so they just get away with everything they fucking can. Oh, yeah. It is coming. Are you prepared? Up here. And do you have food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan? You've got to have a plan. You've got to see what's happening. All right, let us continue. Mr. Uman, and thank you, F Home 2C. And Dr. 762, the good doctor's in the house with a $10 super chat. And he says, John, what does... Where'd that go? John, what does Trump not understand about dropping NATO? That was it, correct, man? There we go. What does Trump not understand about dropping NATO? Well, Trump is an interesting cat. I don't know what he really does or doesn't understand about NATO. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization was created to counter the Soviet communist empire that took over Eastern Europe all the way up, halfway through Germany. That's what NATO was created for. Now, and the thing was, if any nation within NATO is attacked or invaded by the communists, the idea was that the rest of NATO would come to their rescue. So it was a way to the Russian Empire, the commies, and then the Europe and American alliance, NATO, they're equal. And so it kind of put an end to any invasions. It stopped communist aggression. NATO has outlived its usefulness. Europe, whether we're talking about the English or the French, the Spaniards, the Germans, the Poles, the Italians, their military is bullshit. Right? The defense spending for NATO has been done by the United States of America for decades. And it is our nuclear arsenal. Also, the French have nukes, and the English, and the Israelis. Whoops. Right? But the American air bases, they're not supposed to talk about having nukes. I'm sure Ramstein has plenty of them. I'm sure, that the English ones still have lots of the U.S. nukes. But I think we need to get out of NATO. And Trump may be doing that. I don't know what games he's playing. I don't know what his plan is. Is he trying to, let's just say, reform NATO? Like he's going to expose them for being the frauds that they are, relying on American money, right, to protect them. And they're not paying for shit. He's already exposed that. And they're like, well, okay, we'll start paying for our own stuff. Okay, great. And they haven't. And NATO, or at least some of the NATO countries, they want war with Russia so bad they can't stand themselves. Well, they hate Russia because they don't control the Russian monetary system, the bank. They don't control Russian assets. Right? Their mining, their energy. They have an incredible natural resource, shall we say, base. They're also, Russia and China, working with countries in Africa and South America to develop ports, to develop their mining and infrastructure, to benefit those countries and, of course, themselves. But NATO is a worthless piece of shit organization that just costs the Americans money. And, of course, they love to say, and they're continuing to say it, especially Zelensky, that our American sons and daughters are going to have to fight in war against Russia if we don't give Zelensky more money. The temerity of this little fuck is incredible. So is Trump trying to reform NATO? Is he trying to rebuild it? Or is he trying to demonstrate to the world, we don't need to be in NATO because you're threatening World War III and we're not going to be part of it. We're not going to protect you guys. We're not going to come and fight because you picked a fight with the biggest fucking kid in the Eurasian continent. Like, Russia is a nuclear superpower. Period. A nuclear superpower. Why would Europe want to fuck with them? Well, they've been fucking with them. Who's been pushing to get into Europe and into Russia? The bankers. Here we go. This is where the rubber meets the road. The bankers. Who are the bankers? Well, that would be the royal houses in Europe. The Rothschilds, of course. Right? The royal families, the Dutch, the Swedes, the English. Royalty is still in Europe. We don't hear a whole lot about it other than, Prince Charles and the now departed Queen Elizabeth, Prince William and blah, 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 blah. But every European nation still has a king and a queen, an aristocracy, and they are the ones pulling the strings with the banks. Right? They have their alliances with the banks. Remember, folks, literal boatloads of gold and silver was shipped out of the Americas during the time of the conquistadors back in the 1500s and then the 1600s and then the 1700s. Literal ships, galloons, packed with gold and silver that they stole from Native Americans in South and Central America. That money, gold, is money. Everything else is credit. Gold and silver are money. Everything else is credit. J.P. Morgan himself said that. They still have all that money. And they like to control the banking systems. They'll just kind of like harken back to an earlier comment about the digital nightmare, the central bank digital currency that they're trying to force on us. Right? They want to have the real money, the gold, the silver. They want you to have their digital bullshit. So is Trump going to expose NATO, reform NATO, or demonstrate that we don't need to be a part of NATO anymore because the Europeans are a bunch of fucking idiots? They're inviting their own destruction. Oh, they want to institute a draft in Europe. Institute a draft, but guess what they're not going to do? You're going to fucking love this. This is SHTF right down Main Street. They want to exempt these immigrants, these Muslims. They're exempted from service. Everyone else can get drafted and go fucking die fighting Russia. The Great Replacement Theory, it's not a theory. It's practical, and it's coming. All right, thank you, Dr. 762. I appreciate the great Super Chat donation and the awesome topic. NATO, in my opinion, we need to get out of NATO. I say fuck Europe. We've got enough problems of our own here. We need to fix this country. We need to get these commie fucks out of here, these jihadi fucks out of here. We need to get all these left-wing lunatics straightened the fuck out. Or send them to their own island. I don't know. In any event, here we are. Mr. Uman, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? We're an hour and 15 minutes in. We got chin music. And $4.99 super chat. And he says, John, have you talked about the 2 van loads of ammo confiscated near Denver, Colorado that was in the possession of illegal aliens. One van had 180,000 rounds of 7.62, aka 308 round. Yeah, I mentioned it last week. But here's the deal. This is the upshot, Chin. What the hell are two illegals driving these vans? 180,000 rounds of ammunition. Where are they going with that? To whom were they going to deliver it? 180,000 rounds is a lot of ammunition, folks. I know that these idiots from the gangs, MS-13 and Trends de Araguay, and these fucking idiot turban heads, they love to shoot from the hip on full auto and just waste fucking ammo because it looks cool. They're fucking morons. But 180,000 rounds, yeah, they could easily kill anywhere from 10 to 50,000 Americans with that, just depending on, what the situation was in. What are they doing? Delivering them to the military? Were they going to go sell them at a swap meet? I think they were delivering them, this 180,000 rounds, to these Muslim groups, as well as the South American and Central American gangs. Now, here's the deal. In order to shoot a 7.62, 308, they've got to have guns. Do they have a bunch of AR-10s? Do they have M14s? Those are the two most popular rifles that shoot a 7.62 by 51. Right? That's not the Russian Stumpy 308. That's the American 308. What are they going to do with that much ammo? And here's some more questions for you as an American, for you as patriots, for you as veterans and sportsmen, for you who are in charge of your family and their safety. How many vans of ammunition have not been caught? That's exactly what I was just getting into, Mr. Uman. If they caught those guys, just think about how many they didn't catch. They send vans up to Washington State and Oregon. This one was in Denver. How about Minnesota and Wisconsin? They have a fucking boatload, hundreds of thousands of these worthless sacks of shit from Muslim countries are just pouring in to Wisconsin and Minnesota. The Democrats are using these people, by the way, folks, to count them in their census so that they can get over-representation in Congress. They would lose 20 seats in Congress if states did not count these illegals in their censuses. That's how bad this problem is. How many truckloads of ammunition made it through? How about how many truckloads of rifles? Understand, these people hate us. They hate our freedom and liberty. They want to see us suffer, literally. But if you're a woman, they've got a fucking plan for you too. Right? They hate the men and they want to destroy the women. And they are the most backward ass fucked up people on the planet. For 1,400 years, Islam has been a scourge to itself and every country that they interact with. Every one of them. It is a fake religion. And yeah, they probably don't like me. Well, fuck them. Let them try and come and get me. Right? People, we all need to quit being scared. I don't want you to be criminal or do anything illegal, but you need to speak up and fight back. We all need to fight back against these scumbags. How many truckloads? I mean, that was 7.62. How about 5.56? How about 7.62 by 39, the Russian rounds? Where did this ammo come from? Was it stolen from a military base? They didn't say. I didn't hear it. I didn't catch that. Did they steal it from an ammunition supplier like Winchester or Remington? Did they do that? Lake City? Where'd they get this shit from? Unbelievable. Anyways, thank you, Mr. Uman. Let's do another super chat. Someone's out there. Who wants to talk? And it's Scott Maltzberger with a $2 super chat. And he says, John, do you think white culture will prevail? The answer is absolutely yes. I am German and English descent, and I don't want that extinct. Do any of you? Of course we don't, Scott. But back to your original question. Do I think the white culture will prevail? The answer is yes. Because intelligence has an incredible advantage over ignorance. I am German, Scandinavian descent. I don't think there's anything wrong with being white. But these people hate white. Why is that? Why do they hate white? Why do they hate white culture? Why do they claim that white culture has that? It's ridiculous. But there are going, in my opinion, if this doesn't get stopped, just smashed, and then send these fucking people out of the country, there will be no more mosques. There will be no care centers. There will be no Sharia law. If you want Sharia law and you want the Muslim caliphate, go to a country that already has it. Get the fuck out of ours. Now, that's probably not going to happen the way I would like to see it happen, because I would like our American culture. You can call it white culture, or you can call it American culture. We will have our, let's just use this phrase, strongholds, right, where these fucking wacko, fucked up people won't be able to penetrate. Right now, that of course is a very dystopian, Mad Max type perspective. That if it got so bad that these radical jihadi types and Antifa and BLM, if they decided to become ultra violent and come after us and try and kill us, right, I think we would prevail. Right, they would probably go back to their little areas, their strongholds, and we would have ours. Now, thank you, Uman. That's the deal, Scott. And white culture, or American culture, or English culture, or German culture, there are other races in there. There always has been. But when you come to Germany, or you went to England, or even America, you were supposed to assimilate, meaning you accepted the laws and the culture. You didn't try replacing it. You didn't try destroying it. I think what we have to have more of, Scott, is more pain. More pain. People aren't in enough pain yet. They haven't been hurt enough yet. But it's going to happen, in my opinion. It's going to happen, and people are going to be shocked, surprised, and very much hurt by it. All right. Thank you, Scott. Very good question. And white culture has elements of black culture in it, has elements of Hispanic culture in it in America. Let us continue. Mr. Uman, what do we got next? Then we got Blue Cord Devil in the house with a $50 super chat. Rut-row. I'm getting close to the end of this here bottle. I need to probably buy another one. But for the time being, we can work on this one, can't we? All righty. There it is. Mr. Blue Cord Devil with a $50 super chat donation. Semper Fi, Blue Cord Devil. Thank you for that. Woo! Tuned up again. He says, I heard through back channels that they were thinking of breaking out that drug lord in the Supermax in Colorado. Bought the ammo in Utah. Another load of 18,000 was stopped in Wyoming. That doesn't surprise me at all. The Trens de Aguaya people that were taking over Aurora, Colorado, Boulder, Colorado, Denver, Colorado, and the Democrats there were like, oh, there's no problem here. The gangs aren't running towns. They're not hurting people. Meanwhile, people are fucking black and blue, fucked up, cut, stabbed, shot, beat, and killed. They're like, no, we're getting in fact attacked, right? But they arrested him. And there's a Supermax in Colorado. Well, breaking into a prison, kind of a tricky thing. I guess we'll find out, if they want to try it. But they like their drug lords. They like their crime bosses. That wouldn't surprise me if that's what they were up to. 100,000 or 180,000 rounds, that's a lot, folks. That's a lot. I mean, we can do some quick math here. Some quick math. See, a combat load is 300 rounds. So 180,000 divided by 300, that's 600 men. 600 men with 300 rounds each. Right? That's 10 30-round magazines. Combat load. If they wanted to go in and try and break someone out of a Supermax, where do they think they're going with that? Right? The prison has gates, locks, big doors, and it's a Supermax. That means they don't fuck around. They got tall walls. They have guards in there with ammunition. No, I'm sure. I'm absolutely certain that the prison doesn't have 180,000 rounds. It would be an incredible mess. Now, let's say for sake of an argument that these drug lords, these gangs, decided to really arm up 600 men with 300 rounds. That's only 600 rifles. Let's say they got 600 men and they're going to go after the Supermax to free their boss. How long do you think it would be before the National Guard showed up? Do you think that the Army or Marine Corps would be called in to deal with this? Bring in some warthogs, bring in some Cobra helicopters or Apaches, right? Some gunships, and just circle this prison and just take out all the fucking scumbags. At the same time, they would mobilize APCs, armored personnel carriers, and just bring in troops, because that would be an invading military force that was, well, attacking our country. Very interesting. Very interesting. I wonder what they really had in mind. Wouldn't surprise me, though. I really appreciate the super chat, Blue Cord, as well as, right, this information. But we're going to have a lot more problems. This is just one issue. One issue. We're going to have issues from Washington State, Seattle, Portland, down into Sacramento, San Francisco, down to LA, San Diego, all along the border. In Texas, folks, we have huge problems in Dallas, San Antonio, Houston with these freaks. How about all of the Aloha snack bar jihadis who are in the United States military? More specifically, the Army. And they're being converted to Islam. And they don't realize, they do not realize, folks, that they're going to be told you have to serve Islam first. Right? We had that jackass, that fucking major. Had that major in the Army at Fort Hood shoot up a bunch of people. That was years ago. He was a jihadi. You bet he was. An American, supposedly, an officer, supposedly, been on a killing rampage. You gonna tell me we didn't learn our lesson then? No, I'm sure we didn't, right? Now, this is big news to me. And by the way, we're at the 90-minute mark, which means we have, well, less than 30 minutes left in the show. If you've got something to say, super chat button right up there. Let's get it on the screen. But what I've got, folks, is a news flash. I love doing the news flash. Let's do the news flash. President Trump said the person or persons who operated Joe Biden's auto pen, he wants them to be jailed. He wants them arrested and thrown in jail. Now, what is this auto pen? Well, you take the president's signature, and they have like a computer that can mimic it, right? It's an auto pen. It's, you used to have like a rubber stamp for signing shit. Auto pen. Well, they did what? They signed laws and bills, executive actions, pardons. So Trump wants the person or persons who did that arrested. Here's my question. Will Kash Patel or Pam Bondi follow the president's direct order of finding and arresting the auto pen hacks, right? Because it is fraud. It's illegal. Or if they're not going to follow the president's order, will Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, and hell, Dan Bongino, will they prove to be complicit with bankers, billionaire Democrats, and Democrat politicians? This is one more test to prove whether these people are on our side or whether they're on the banker side, the Democrat side, the New World Order side, the World Economic Forum side, the fucking evil anti-American side. They talk a big fucking game. They do. They talked a big game. They provided jack shit. So I'm waiting now. President Trump wants it, and he wants them arrested because that's illegal. All right, Mr. Uman, who's up next on the Prepared Mind channel? We've been doing great, over 350 people all night long. Who's up? We got Bump Bada Dump. Brad June's back with a $5 super chat. He says, very much enjoying your talk tonight. Much love from the shores of Oregon, but scared of the Cascadia slip. Well, just be ready with a hot air balloon in the event that the Cascadia slips into the Wanda, is it Wanda Fulca fault? There's a fault there. Anyways, I used to be more familiar with the West Coast tectonic plate movement action. But if I were you on the shores of Oregon, I might be more worried about the lunatics in Salem and Portland. And, of course, right across the border in Seattle. But the shores of Oregon, my younger son likes to take his family over to the Oregon coast and chill, hang out at the beach and have some fun. It's really interesting. The Cascadia slip. I'm wondering, are we going to have natural disasters? Can the government actually create? Can the government actually create natural disasters like the tectonic plate movement, cause a huge earthquake? We know that they can now create and direct hurricanes. Fucking no doubt, folks. I've experienced it. No doubt. It is quite a shit show out there with what they can and can't do. Right? They created a tsunami off the coast of Fukushima. That was a big whoops. The bankers let Japan have it because Japan at that time, believe it or not, back in, I think it was 2011. I think was it March? I think March of 2011, the Fukushima tsunami. Just days before that, Japan was trying to do a deal with Iran for oil. And then we had Prime Minister Abe of Japan, who was a pretty good ally and partner to Trump in trade, ended up being assassinated. Well, he wasn't playing along with folks, with the COVID crap. He wasn't playing along with the Jim Jones juice, and they're finding out in Japan how deadly everything is. One heck of a shit show we got. It was March of 2011, Fukushima tsunami. Thank you, Mr. Uman. Absolutely incredible. I think we were missing a couple of nuclear weapons at that time. And I think we still are missing one or two of them. Remember, back at the beginning of the just before the Trump inauguration and after the election, they kept looking for radioactive indicators that there was nuclear or atomic weapons in the greater Washington, D.C. area. We still have those threats out there, folks. We still have those threats out there. Russia is still out there. China is still out there, offshore. But onshore, we have terrorist organizations. We have radical religious fucknuts. And we've got ridiculous, retarded, indoctrinated fools who believe that, well, their violence is completely acceptable. Because it's okay to fight fascism. What's funny is that these socialists here in America, they are being funded by fascists. Isn't that crazy? Absolutely crazy. These Democrats have lost their fucking minds. They really have. A Florida judge. I love to talk about how great Florida is, but I also love to talk about how fucked up these Democrats are. A Florida judge who has it within his prerogative, his what he oversees, are substance abuse cases. Well, this dumb son of a bitch, and I guarantee he's a fucking Democrat, was arrested for driving under the influence, possession of drug paraphernalia, and his wallet had cocaine in it. That's how it's done if you're a Democrat. And so in Florida, I just love that there's a lot of law enforcement here that doesn't put up with this shit. And yes, Sheriff Grady Judd is still in Polk County, just a couple of hours, or is it just an hour and a half? Anyways, I never speed in Polk County. Anyways, Democrats, scum. That's what they do. They're just absolute idiots. Anyways, folks, let's do it again. Ooh, man, who do we want to bring up next on the Prepared Mind channel? Sunday Night Live. It's the Zoo. And Boomer's back again. He's back with another $20 super chat. And he says, John, if they'll not arrest the scumbag elites now, then how will they do it if they lose the House or the Senate in the midterms? It's a great question. You see, that's the stalling tactic or technique, if you will, that the Democrats are using. They want to interfere and impede Trump and make it look like he's failing. Right? The country is for Trump and arresting illegals and arresting scumbag and pedophiles. That's what the country wants. So if they don't do that because the Democrats interfere, or Pam Bondi doesn't do shit because she's protecting the royal British and the Israeli Mossad scumbags and the CIA, FBI scumbags that have been running their honeypot pedophilia rings in order to control politicians, right? If they can't, if they can stop that, yeah, we could lose the midterms. But here's the deal, Boomer. While you and I and all of us are fucking pissed off that they haven't arrested a single Epstein client. They arrested Jeffrey Epstein for trafficking children. They arrested Jizzy Maxwell for trafficking children, selling children to ultra wealthy men who wanted to, and women too, by the way, who want to kill them, rape them, just whatever they fucking did. Right? It's incredible that the people that paid to do that and paid Jizzy and Jeffrey, the people that paid them aren't in trouble. Well, here's the deal, though. Yeah, we're fucking pissed off. Why should we vote in the midterms if they're not going to fucking arrest these scumbags? Well, the Democrats, folks, only have a 21% approval rating, and they're fucking retarded. Hakeem Jeffries, discount Obama. Cory Booker, discount Obama. AOC, fucking retard extraordinaire. Jasmine Crockett, eyelash whore. Maxine Waters, looks like Magilla Gorilla on acid. Right? Nancy Pelosi looks like her fucking face was spray painted on by someone in the fucking ghetto of Los Angeles. Right? These people are all fucked up. Nobody likes them. Right? Only half the Democrats support them. So the Democrat turnout in the midterm will likely be very, very low as well. I don't know if we'll lose seats or lose control of the House and the Senate, But if they lose control of the House, the first order of business will be impeaching Trump. Period. Warranted or unwarranted, doesn't matter. Trump needs to arrest Jamie Raskin. Piece of shit, Jamie Raskin. Right? Congressional representative. Now he wants, get this, Jamie Raskin wants Trump officials arrested for kidnapping the judge who helped the illegal alien evade arrest. Now, who is Jamie Raskin? Who are the police that are going to follow his orders? He's a congressman. He has no law enforcement executive authority. But saying that they kidnapped a judge? No, the judge was arrested. Jamie Raskin says kidnapped. Trump was arrested. That's fine. But don't you dare touch a judge. It's incredible, folks. Judges are now the gods of the Democrats because that's their last line of defense at this point, is using these judges, and Trump just needs to ignore them. Literally, he needs to ignore them. But understand this. War is coming. Political war, psychological war, and physical war. It's coming. Be ready to deal with the violence from the politicians. Uman says the Democrats need to find an issue or incident to fire up their voter base. They can't. All they do is attack Trump and look fucking stupid. I know what you're saying is true, Uman. They need to do that. But they can't get anything with traction. Every time they try something, people just, they're like, you guys are fucking idiots. They really are fucking idiots. Kidnapping a judge? No, they arrested the fucking judge. Was there a crime? Yes, there was a crime. The judge was aiding and abetting an illegal alien and then helping that illegal alien evade arrest. That's a fucking crime. But the Democrats love to commit crimes. Hell, get this, folks. Dr. Oz, who I'm not a huge fan of, but he has come in and found billions of dollars in Medicare and Medicaid fraud, waste, and just theft. And he said, if you thought you said was a problem, this will bring a little shiver to you. Folks, understand, Medicare and Medicaid is doctors, hospitals. Doctors now are thieves and they're liars. Now, I have interviewed Dr. John, a friend of mine, a true patriot, and an accomplished American surgeon who has inventions and awards that he's won. He's an actual incredible guy. I've met him several times and talked to him quite a bit. He's down in Florida here, by the way. But what he told me about doctors shocked the shit out of me. He says they're shit. They sell us, their patients, for money. From drugs and treatments to outright killing people to sell their body parts. He was a whistleblower. He's very familiar with these fucking people in these universities. I think the University of Pittsburgh was one of them. They will, right? This is what doctors are doing. Also, the reason doctors push the Jim Jones juice and childhood into little children is they get big, big money for every 100 people that they jack up with that shit from the pharmaceutical companies. But if they don't get a certain percentage of all of their patients, then they lose that money. And that's why they attack people. And they insist. It's all about money, folks. So Dr. Oz says, hey, look at this. Look at this, billions in Medicare and Medicaid that the doctors are stealing with politicians. So, okay, arrests in 3, 2, 1. Pam, Dan, Cash, anybody? No. Not happening, is it? These fucking scumbag politicians like Jamie Raskin, these fucking awful doctors out there are fucking everything over. And oh yeah, this is incredible. This was great fucking news. Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary of Defense, fired all Pentagon advisory committees, including The one that had Susan Rice. She has now been fired. That is what we fucking voted for. Pete Hegseth is an ass-kicking motherfucker. Now, how long Susan Rice and these other advisory committees, how they lasted this long is odd. But Pete, once he became aware with your insistence, he fired that communist demon Susan Rice and company and committees. Here's the deal. It was exposed that Susan Rice, Obama crony, piece of shit, anti-American scumbag. And boy, did she go on the media, left-wing media that no one watches, and whined about it. Too bad. No one cares. Right? She's done. Kicked off. But only because of you guys, folks. That's important here. Only because of you guys. Our pressure through social media makes it happen. Right? Secretary Pete Hegseth. He got messages from all of us through Twitter and social media and everything else. The same as we're doing with Cash and Pam Bondi and Dan Bongino. Keep writing them. Don't let them weasel out of it. Do not forget every fucking day. This is how we're engaging in this, well, shall we say, social war, political war, psychological war. What we're trying to do is win this. Preserve American culture, white culture. Right? We're trying to preserve ourselves, our republic. We're trying to preserve it before or until we have to go to physical war and fighting. But thank God for Pete Hegseth. And they're trying to destroy him, folks. Have you noticed that the Democrats, the mainstream media, they don't say a fucking thing about Pam Bondi. They don't say a damn thing about Cash Patel. They don't say a fucking thing about Dan Bongino. But they hate Pete Hegseth, and they're trying to get rid of him over their fabricated bullshit, social media posts or signal chat apps. They're trying to do everything they can. This coming, right? Oh my God, Pete Hegseth, he put out on a communication to somebody about something that's happening with something. But Lloyd the Loser Austin, Secretary of Defense under Biden, right? Mr. Face Shield Darth Vader, that fucking clown, abandoned $85 billion worth of equipment in Afghanistan to the Taliban, who are to this fucking day still parading, literal parades with American equipment, American weapons, American munitions, American uniforms, American planes, American helicopters. They're still to this day parading our stuff. 85 billion. They're worried about a fucking Twitter or Signal post that Pete Hegseth made after they did that and got 13 Americans killed at the fucking airport when they should have stopped them. There's America, and then there's America, folks. All right, let's have some fun. Ooh, man, who's up next? We got, holy cow, about 10 minutes left in the show, and it's Dan the Man Ericson. He says, I think you owe Darcy T a shot. Holy crap, I think you're right. Holy cow, Dan keeps a close eye on me, folks, and that's very important. Got to watch the John, but I owe Dan a shot right now. So, we're getting close to the bottom of this one. Rut-row. All right, let me top that one off, Mr. Dan. Here's to you, brother. Thank you for the great, great, great support. And, of course, wit, wisdom, and a sharp mind. Thank you for all you give to the channel. And he says, the opening of the show with my Chesty Puller quote got you all fired up. This country does not make many badass guys like him anymore. Semper Fi. They're out there, Dan. They're out there. The Chesty Puller, Smedley Butler, Dan Daly. Look up Dan Daly. Right? There's some incredible men that gave everything as Marines, as soldiers. And it's just incredible what they were willing to do for country and their faith, their belief in America. And we still have people like that. Right? Sergeant Major Michael, you know who you are, brother. He should be in the audience somewhere. You know, Army Special Forces, retired. He communicates with me from time to time. There's a lot of good men still. You know, we've had a lot of Congressional Medal of Honor winners over the last 30 years, from Desert Storm to Desert Storm 2 onward. There's good men. But people like Chesty Puller or Dan Daly, there's too many to name, folks. I can't do it. Right? They're there. And we're all still here. And all we need to do is be activated. That's literally it. You want to see some shit happen? Activate me. Right? By the way, Dan, let's get Darcy T shot in here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Get me all fucking fired up and pissed off. Semper Fi, and thank you, Darcy T. That's going to do me in right there. I love my scotch, folks. And I also love training. And I love being an American. I love being a big guy, 6'6", 275 pounds. I love being who I am. I love fighting for America. I love fighting for freedom and liberty. I would love to defend everyone with every ounce of my fiber. That's what it meant to serve in the military. You know, I even as just a little guy, you know, I wasn't a fucking gunny. I wasn't a fucking captain or anything or a major. I was just a little guy, but I still looked out for my men. And I wanted to fight and destroy communism and evil. And there are some badass guys out there. But it's a different kind of fight. You know, back when Chesty Puller was fighting, you know, they had some tanks. They had some planes. But it was still fought, you know, trench to trench. They were still fighting, you know, hill to hill, with their hands sometimes, and knives, when they ran out of ammunition. It was a crazy shit, folks. You want to learn about some badass dudes? Read about Wake Island. Wake Island. You know, you can also, you know, read about Corregidor. You can read about all of it, all of the World War II stuff, all the way to Iwo Jima. Okay. Anyways, man, I really appreciate it, Dan. And now I'm a little bit. All right. Well, we're closing in on the end of the show. Whoa. Okay. What has happened just since we started the show? Well, I covered that for you. I covered that. Oh, that lady that flew that helicopter into the passenger jet and killed dozens of people, including children, right, that worked for Joe Biden. This is back in Washington, D.C., just a couple of months ago. Yep. They released some more information. The girl who was flying that, Rebecca Labrick, or Labac, incredible negligence. She wouldn't listen to her co-pilot who was advising her that, you know, she was doing it wrong. Crazy. And Christy Noem, who was robbed by an illegal alien. Well, apparently there's an accomplice to that, another illegal. These people are sick and fucked up. And I'm not a huge Christy Noem fan because I think she puts too much glam and glamour into her job. She's the DHS, Department of Homeland Security head. She needs to act and look like it. Put your hair in a fucking bun, leave the makeup off, go do your fucking job, and start arresting more of these fucking people. Anyways, yeah, she got robbed at gunpoint in a fucking restaurant. Where was her security detail? Still, to me, seems It seems that there's a problem here. A commie Democrat, Michigan Senator Elisa Slotkin. She has admitted that Democrats are, quote, weak and woke. They know they're losing, folks. They know that they're not inspiring greatness. They know that they're fucking ridiculous. Weak and woke. But Elisa Slotkin is now telling the Democrat Party to, quote, fucking retake the flag with alpha energy. So are you kidding me? Now Democrats, what she's saying is Democrats need to pretend to be patriots and take back the flag. They can't pull it off. They hate America too much, folks. They're fucking retards. But they're going to try. They're going to try. They're going to keep trying to screw us and fool us and destroy us. Adam Schiff, shifty shithead, pencil neck, bug-eyed fruitcake, says his party, the Democrat Party, has a, quote, major problem. This is, I was trying to describe this earlier. A cashier in San Francisco said, Democrats are assholes. Hell, we all know that's true. We all know that's true. Unbelievable. Oh, this is interesting. Eric Holder, the Attorney General for Obama, Eric Holder, who sent guns, lots of them, down into the Mexican drug lords' hands in Operation Fast and Furious in an effort to frame the Second Amendment of the United States Constitution as responsible for all of these guns getting down there. It was a fucking setup, a sting, a shit show. This pile of shit was never held accountable for all his fucking lies and for the fact that, well, Border Patrol agents were killed with these guns. That Eric Holder, sack of shit, gave. He is now criticizing Kash Patel because Kash posted a photo of the judge in handcuffs. The judge that was obstructing the arrest. It's just a picture, Eric. Why don't you go fuck yourself? Crazy business, folks. What a day. What a weekend. And this week is going to get nasty, folks. It is. It is. Unbelievable. We've also had a mass shooting in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. 11 people injured just since they started the show, folks. Just since we started the show. Now, Trump says that the External Revenue Service is happening. I don't want another revenue service. I want less revenue service. But he says income taxes are going to, quote, be substantially reduced, maybe even completely eliminated for those making less than $200,000 a year. Well, that's all of us. Fuck. Unbelievable. In any event, Trump is still pushing. He's pushing. But what I want, you want, etc., is we want arrests. We want these fucking illegals thrown out of the country. And I think we all want these radical Sharia law Muslim motherfuckers thrown out of the country as well. In fact, the state of Washington is the first state now to recognize Islamic holidays as state holidays. I thought that governments were not supposed to recognize religious holidays. Uman says, we also had the car attack in Toronto. All I heard was 11 now killed. The guy was in custody and had mental issues. I think so. Plenty of mental issues out there, folks. Yeah, we've got trouble. I mean, I've got just a shit pile of stuff left to discuss, but we're at the 2-hour mark. I think we're out of time, but never out of SHTF to talk to. I want you to be prepared, though. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. We've got a shit show incoming, folks. Are you prepared? Up here, as well as having everything you need. Right, shelves stocked with food, lots of guns and ammo. Keep your copies of the Constitution close at hand. And chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Thank you to everyone for the great support, the super chats, making sure the lights stay on, and I've got lots of spam and tuna fish, and also a plan. That's right. We all have to have a plan to deal with where you are and the 10 miles around you. There could be cattle ranches around you for 10 miles. You're good. You got less to worry about than someone who's in a big city and they got ghettos around them and they've got scumbags from other countries around them, or they've got a lot of communists or colleges. There's always something, folks, that we need to be aware of, is the area around us. Semper Fi, God bless America, and I'll see you all 0 dark 30.